Hey guys, welcome back to All Things Outdoors. Couple things, I got a little project here. I had something I received that I actually want to finish installing right now. Let me do a little bit of a backdrop here for you. I use a refrigerator a lot, and I'm constantly powering that refrigerator off of the Bronco power through the 12-volt hookup in the back, or I'll carry one of these. This is usually what I use when I'm in camp and I park the Bronco to hook up and run my refrigerator. I'd like to eliminate having to carry this, or at least maybe make something a little more efficient on shorter trips. I came up with a way to stash a 50 amp hour battery inside the back quarter panel of the Bronco. We got a 50 amp hour battery tucked into this cubby in the back quarter panel of the Bronco. It used to be just like a little cubby where I could stick a few things there. Well, I decided to go ahead and make a little cover for it and do a little bit of cutting. I was able to squeeze a 12 volt 50 amp hour mini battery, lithium ion battery, just right into that little cubby space. You can see there's a bit of a difference in size in those two items, and yet that 50 amp hour is twice the watt hours of my little Energizer. So with that 50 amp hour there, I ran the 8 gauge wire all the way across underneath and then put it onto this panel. So right now I have a digital fuel gauge basically, and then everything here is on switches to where you can either turn it on, turn it off. This is what I usually run my refrigerator now in camp. 50 amp hour battery, I had to have some way to charge it. I have this Victron solar charger, and then I have some cables hooked up to it to where I can run a solar panel right to this. I do have quite a bit of length of solar cables there, that way I can use my folding solar panel. Now fast forward to today. I need a way to charge this a little more efficiently. I haven't given up on the folding 100-watt solar panel. That's still not a bad thing to have, but I'd like to have something maybe a little more permanent and a little more continuous as far as charging. That brings me to this item. All right, what this is, right here. This is a Lensun solar panel, and it goes right on your hood. As of today, tomorrow, and the next day, we're gonna have some warmer weather, so I'd like to go ahead and get this installed today. What this does, this goes ahead and mounts on the hood, and then it has a cable that runs underneath your hood, just like that, and you can actually mount it for charging your battery. Lensun does offer a solar charger in their kits that they have. However, I already have my Victron, so I'm just gonna stick with that, but I am gonna have to run some wiring back to the Victron solar charger. Let me show you how this is going to mount first. This little bubble up right here, I've actually got a black vinyl underlay on it already. This actually was sent by Lensun as well. This is kind of just a protective coating to kind of help protect your paint underneath the solar panel. And this is actually the very first type of vinyl work I've ever done. It actually drove me insane. Just trying to get all the bubbles out, and I still feel like there's one right there I can barely see. However, it is going to be an underlay. After about the third or fourth time of pulling it off, putting it back on, I finally just went with it since it is an underlay. And I will tell you, the biggest thing that I did is I used tons of water in a spray bottle to spray under this thing, just to keep it to where I could adjust it as needed. So you can see the black underlay right there. That's actually where this mount is going to go. So today I need to get this little fella mounted to the hood, tuck the cabling, and then get some wiring ran from the back of the quarter panel all the way into the firewall. I'm going to go ahead and get started by running the wiring from the solar charger to the firewall, and then once we get that ran, then I'll go ahead and mount this sucker up. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up these little kickers, these little thresholds. A lot of wiring is ran all the way from here, inside this little area here, down behind the speaker through this threshold, and then in this spot there is another threshold here, and that comes up to here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull both those, see if I can get some wiring ran to where maybe I can get the solar panel wire connected through these two spots all the way back to that solar charger. So So now what I have back here, we actually have the wires running all the way back. I still have the ends on them, which I'm going to tuck behind this panel here, and it's going to run onto the back, and then that's where we'll hook it up to the solar charger. So let's go ahead and get this sucker buttoned up, and then we'll see what it looks like. Okay, this is going to be the worst part for me, is trying to get this lined up and straight, because it's a one and done. There's no adding water. I want to go ahead and measure this. Maybe put a little bit of a pencil mark to where I have an idea, and then that way I can ensure it's perfectly straight. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of that windshield washer jet and that washer jet. I'll find the center of it, and then I'm going to find the center of this panel. I don't think I'll get a good read with the angle of the bubble up. Let me go ahead and see if I can find the center there, and then we'll go from there. Actually, 22.5. There we go. All right. So we're going to do 11.25, right about there. Just under 2. Just under 2. So that is pretty well centered. So what I did, I actually took and measured an inch down. Well, I measured from the bottom of the jet to the solar, and it comes in right at an inch on both sides of those jets. And then from the edge of the black vinyl on the side to the solar panel, it's just under 2 inches. So we are really close to being perfectly centered. I guess now the hard part's going to be getting it set. So ideally, when I set it down, after I strip the tape, it's going to need to sit perfectly between the blocks. That might help me out just a little bit, I guess. All right, let's get this done. One thing I almost forgot to do, it's probably a really important step too, is make sure you clean it with alcohol. Actually, it's not going to erase my marks either, so. I did leave the tape on the sides. Oh, there we go. It would be easier if it was a smaller vehicle. And wasn't so windy. All right, hold on one second. Ad, come here real quick, hurry. Need you to help place it. All right, so that is a fail. We're gonna have to use 2 people.
Okay.
It's too flexy. All right, do you see the side mark, pencil mark, and then the top pencil mark and the bottom pencil mark?
These?
Yeah, there's,
yeah.
Yep. It just has to go right in that area. The tape, you can touch the red because I don't have the tape pulled on that. But
okay.
Let's see if we can get it set. Oh, we are set, and it is spot on. I'm actually really happy with that. So the blocks was an ultimate fail. Measuring, bugs. Measuring was good. I will say, just get another person to help you put them down. It's too flexy. If it hadn't been so pliable, maybe you could do it by yourself, but if you're going to be super picky about where it's put, get somebody to help you. But on that, we got it installed. So now what we got to do is hook up the wiring, and then we should be good to go. One thing I did do, you may not have seen it. I don't know if my camera died before we actually did it, but I left it on the outer ring of the tape. I put stripes down the middle, then traced the whole outside with 3M tape. I left the red backing on the entire outer ring of this panel and just pulled off a little bit and untucked it. So that way, after we got it set, I could get a hold of that tape and draw it out from underneath it all the way around, and then get a really good seal on the outer side. I don't know if my camera caught that. If not, I'm throwing that in there. Hopefully that makes sense. Probably doesn't. Okay, so I got the power cables that run from the solar charger all the way up through the firewall. They are running through that other side, and you don't see any wires there, obviously. We're coming through the firewall right here, and then I've got the solar panel wire that tucks under. I got it pulled tight, and it is attached right there, and then we were connected. So all I got to do is tuck these away, close the hood, and she's ready to roll. All right, and you can see we got it hooked up now. We got the blue light, shows it's charging. I probably am going to put a couple of shorter cables on here, maybe a couple of splitters or something, just to run right to the box versus what I normally use for the folding solar panel. But for right now, I've got it hooked up. It's working great. Drilled a couple holes after running the cabling to this back panel and used some rubber grommets. We are charging right now. Perfect. You got a ways to go. There you go. That wraps up this project. So let me know what you think. Was it worth it? Not worth it? 60 watts of solar running to the battery constantly. That's going to keep that battery topped off at all times. Should be more than enough to keep me with power for my trips in the backcountry. Worth it? Not worth it? Let me know what you think. Until next time. What do you think? How do you think it looks?
Looks like you gave it a Band-Aid.
Band-Aid?